Once again, very pleased to have with us in studio tonight, Doug Ritter from Knife Rights. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Cam.
You bet. This is the second time, I believe, Mother Jones has written about Knife Rights. They like you over there.
They do. It's actually the same article, just sort of recast slightly, and now publicly available. So we've been getting a lot of attention from some very unlikely sources.
Really?
It's been wonderful.
You know, and with the headline here, "Move over NRA, meet the knife lobby." I mean, I don't know if they're trying to cause, like friction between friends, but, as you've pointed out, I mean, the reason why Knife Rights exists is because the NRA has been so successful in protecting and preserving our right to keep and bear firearms.
Absolutely. And we are the second front in the defense of our Second Amendment. I think it's a tremendous compliment to what we've been working on, that they're taking notice. I mean, for them to compare us to our good friends at the NRA is really very nice. It means that despite our diminutive size, I mean, the NRA's got nothing on us but 140 years and 4 million members, we are making a difference, and people are starting to take notice. And I have to tell you that as a result of the publication of that article in a publication that we wouldn't think of as being Second Amendment friendly by any stretch.
Oh, no.
We have seen a rush of memberships. Proof that I think that Knife Rights really does cross the divide.
Look, I think Knife Rights do. I think increasingly gun rights do. I mean, we say on the show, I've said many times over the 8 years we've been doing this, that the right to keep and bear arms is not a conservative right. It's not a right for Republicans. It's a right for all law-abiding Americans. And I want to see the day when everybody across the political spectrum, we may disagree on all kinds of issues, but when it comes to our right to keep and bear arms, when it comes to our right to defend ourselves, we're all in agreement that that's just sort of like, I mean, that's bipartisan. That's common sense. That's where we all
stand. And that's exactly,
firm.
I think, what's happening both in the gun rights, Second Amendment community, and we certainly see that in knife rights. I mean, when we go to a legislature to get a bill passed to rid a state of a switchblade ban, or to pass knife law preemption, as we've done now in 4 states, we get very, very strong bipartisan support. I mean, if you look at Indiana last year, in the Senate, our bill passed 41-1.
Wow.
Okay, so yes, we didn't get it going in the House because of election year politics, but that's just indicative of how strong a bipartisan support we get when we go in to do something like this. And every win we make for knives is a win for the Second Amendment.
Okay, I was going to ask you, is there, this is almost a devil's advocate question, and I don't mean it to be because we're on the same side, but let's just say, are you concerned at all about providing cover for anti-gun politicians where they can say, look, I'm not anti-self-defense, I'm just anti-gun. I like knives. I like most knives, unless we're talking about carrying around machetes, Doug. I'm going to be with you on knives, but I'm going to be as anti-gun as all get out. Do you see that?
I think that exists to a certain extent, but I don't know if I think that would be called cover for them.
Right. Is it an opportunity for education for them?
I think that's very much the point. You know, one of the things that Knife Rights does is it's introducing the Second Amendment.
Right.
It's a whole group of people who have never considered the Second Amendment their concern. They may not have been anti-Second Amendment, but they might not have been anti-gun, but they weren't necessarily pro-gun or pro-Second Amendment. Well, now the Second Amendment means something to them because though these are tools and tools used by millions of Americans every day at home, at work, at play.
Right.
You know, they're arms also that are occasionally used to protect one's life or one's property. And people now recognize that the Second Amendment is the ultimate stopgap or stop to someone taking away their tool.
Right.
That's occasionally an arm, which is really no different than a firearm, which is another tool that is occasionally used to protect one's life and one's property.
And so when you look at some of the fights that you've had and some of the legislative victories that you've been able to achieve, we've talked before about the situation in New York City where the district attorney is confiscating knives that are sold at like Home Depot. I mean, these are basically folding knives, pocket knives, right?
Pocket knives that represent over 80% of the pocket knives sold in the U.S. today, one-hand opening knives.
But these are, and the stores, a lot of the stores, as Mother Jones points out, agreed to pay nearly $1.9 million in penalties. An advisor to Mayor Michael Bloomberg praised the DA for removing, quote, a threat that was hiding in plain sight. But you're actually suing. So where's that lawsuit right now, Doug?
It grinds along, as federal lawsuits do. We've recently had some good things happen. We were able to add one of those victimized retailers as a plaintiff. We just actually, on Monday this week, finished up her deposition in the case, so that's moving along very well. The city and the DA's motions to dismiss were rejected by the judge. So that means sooner or later, we're going to trial. So things are moving along. I get frustrated because
as
to me,
slowly as the mayor would like, right?
They're moving slowly, but my attorneys tell us that it's actually moving at quite a fast pace for a federal civil rights lawsuit.
Oh.
So we're quite thrilled. And it is bringing attention to the issue and to the fact that there is this threat to our knives, and that we need to do something about it. We had a very good year last year, passing knife law preemption in Georgia, the fourth state we've done that in, getting the ban on switchblades, automatic knives repealed in Missouri. We have been working very hard in the off season, as it were, getting ready for the next session of legislatures. And, we're going to be working in 5, 6, 7 states, finishing up work we did last year, new states who have come to us and said, we want to fix our knife laws because we know they're not good.
Wow.
And it's great that we have gone from who the heck is knife rights to Mother Jones writing an article about us, to legislators coming to us being the knife lobby.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I don't mind being the knife lobby or even the evil knife lobby. Because it means that people are starting to pay attention, and we are making a difference.
Just out of curiosity, I know this. We're almost running out of time here, but you trace the gun control movement, back to maybe the 1930s, where it's kind of started and germinated, and then flowered in the 1960s. Was the knife control movement, was that really a byproduct of like the juvenile delinquent Marlon Brando, Wild Bunch, teenage biker James Dean, Switchblade? Of the 50s?
That was the...
When did we start to see the knife control laws?
There are two series of knife control laws.
Okay.
The first series of knife control laws occurred right after the Civil War, when they wanted to take Bowie knives and knives such as that away from blacks and Hispanics and others who couldn't afford a firearm. So they can't get a firearm, let's disarm the knives that they might have. And then the second series occurred in the early 50s with the Federal Switchblade Act and similar laws in states, about half the states.
Right.
So there are really two waves of knife control. And now we're seeing sort of a third wave trying to get started in New York City, where, let's expand our law against gravity knives and switchblades and try to cover more knives,
right?
So that we can take them away from people.
Look, I mean, I know people say, there's no slippery slope. In England right now, they are talking about banning pointy kitchen knives. Pointy-ended kitchen knives are inappropriate. You don't need them. And they've actually recruited some chefs to come out and say, you really don't need pointy-edged kitchen knives. We can do just fine.
Someone needs to take away their chef permit.
I mean, exactly. So you want to know where this leads.
All you have to do is look in Europe and England and see the ridiculous laws they have.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all know that carrying a knife does not make you a criminal. Right. A knife never picked itself off up a table or out of someone's pocket and committed a crime. It's the people. It's the people, whether it's knives, it's the people, whether it's guns.
Absolutely.
And the same principles apply.
And that's the thing. We talk about this being an opportunity to educate some folks. When that light goes off, oh, yeah, you're right.
You'd be amazed at the number of what we would call liberals in New York City who have been arrested for carrying their pocket knife in their pocket, who have seen the light. I get calls every week from these folks who have suddenly realized what their elected government is doing to them, and they don't like it. And all of a sudden, it means something to them. The Second Amendment is important to them. That's a tremendous revelation for these folks.
Absolutely. I'm just sorry it has to happen at the end of an arrest. Doug, the website, kniferights.org?
Kniferights.org. Please take a look, join up, support us. We're the second front in the defense of our Second Amendment.
Thank you so much for coming in the studio. Always good talking to you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Cam.
Doug Ritter with Knife Rights. Join us here on Cam & Company.